the citizen should access the health services because they're already in South Africa. Otherwise, what are we doing? Are we relegating them to death? Xenophobic actions by South African citizens.
We have citizens of our countries crossing borders back and forth.
There has to be cooperation or collaboration between governments when it comes to giving health services to people who are across the borders.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about two countries, Lesotho and Zimbabwe, and how they've responded to South Africans blocking foreigners from using the public healthcare system. Now, as expected, both countries completely avoid the real issue. They talk around the matter. They throw out buzzwords like xenophobia and act confused about why South Africans are reacting the way they are. Well, I'm not confused. I'll tell you exactly what the issue is and exactly why they're both being dishonest and insulting in their responses. Let's get into it.
The welfare of Basotho visiting or residing in South Africa has raised concerns to the government of Lesotho. In its latest cabinet sitting, Lesotho says it is worried about reports of Basotho being denied access to medical assistance and what seems to be random targeting and arrests of Lesotho citizens in the Republic.
Our appeal is that if you give a Lesotho citizen a visa to be in South Africa for a period of time, this Lesotho citizen would be in South Africa lawfully. That means that the citizen should access the health services because they're already in South Africa. Otherwise, what are we doing? Are we relegating them to death or what? So I think it's very important that if there are changes to, or rather, if there are conditions that we have to adhere to as the citizens who get the permits to be in South Africa, those conditions have to be clarified.
Morosi says while she believes that this might not be an official policy of government, the messages implied is rather unsettling.
It's probably just xenophobic actions by South African citizens. What prompted that, I may not know. But I think the government of South Africa has to stop that immediately.
Minister Morosi further says the cabinet is also alive to reports of Basotho randomly being targeted, some officials arresting people with valid legal and valid documents. The government says it is in a process of sending a delegation to South Africa in an effort to find a solution to the recent and worrying concerns.
The Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission also plays the role of a public protector. It says there are several categories of Zimbabweans in South Africa. It is now speaking to the public protector to come up with solutions that work for all.
We agreed that it's an issue that we need to sit down and talk and engage about so that we can seek resolutions to that problems, because we need to find out, for example, what are the causes, because there are Zimbabweans who, some of them live at the borders and even across. We have citizens of our countries crossing borders back and forth, and we also have Zimbabweans who are in South Africa who are irregular immigrants, some of them, but some of them are regular, are regular migrants.
The Commission acknowledges fixing the problem at the source is the best solution.
On the Zimbabwean side as well, there's need for us continuing to do our work regarding efficiency to increase and improve and ensure that there is efficient healthcare service delivery, so that there are less Zimbabweans who would want to cross the border to get public health services from South Africa.
Health experts say the two countries should work together to ensure access to health care.
There has to be cooperation or collaboration between governments when it comes to giving health services to people who are across the borders, and in particular those who are within their own country.
But last week, Justice Minister Ziambi said government will not pay for the medical bills of its citizens in South Africa.
Let's start with Lesotho. Their government says they're concerned about Basotho being denied access to healthcare and some even being randomly arrested in South Africa. Their minister claims that if a citizen has a visa, they should have access to public health services. She even goes as far as asking, otherwise, what are we doing? Are we relegating them to death? Let's unpack this nonsense. First of all, this entire statement ignores the real issue. The issue isn't about legal migrants who have proper documentation. The issue is about undocumented foreigners, people crossing our borders illegally, flooding our clinics, and collapsing a healthcare system meant for South Africans. This minister talks about visas, but clearly hasn't read the visa requirements. Because if you have a visa to enter South Africa, you are required, and I quote from the Department of Home Affairs, to provide proof of financial means. That includes proof of medical cover or available cash for emergencies. So if your people are here on valid visas, then guess what? They're supposed to pay for their health care. They are not entitled to free services. They should be going to private hospitals, not walking into a public clinic and demanding assistance at taxpayer expense. What this minister is doing here is classic political deflection. She skips the parts about Basotho entering South Africa illegally and instead pretends this is about legal visitors being mistreated. It's not. She also says she doesn't know where this so-called xenophobia is coming from. Let me help her. It's coming from decades of frustration. It's coming from watching our public services collapse under the weight of illegal immigration. It's coming from a government that has abandoned its people and allowed our borders to be treated like suggestions. Now, Lesotho also claims that people with valid documents are being arrested for no reason. And maybe that's true in a few rare cases, but in most cases, people are being arrested for good reason. Expired visas, fake papers, or no documentation at all. And even if there are a few who are wrongfully arrested, let me tell you why. Because South Africans are fed up, and when a nation is fed up, things break. So if police are now arresting people just to send a message, I won't defend it, but I completely understand it. Next up is Zimbabwe. Their Human Rights Commission says they want to engage with South Africa's public protector to find solutions. They start by saying there are different categories of Zimbabweans in South Africa. Some are legal, some are undocumented, some live near the border and cross daily. And of course, they throw in the classic, but South Africans go to Zimbabwe too. As if that somehow justifies tens of thousands of Zimbabweans overwhelming our systems. Let's be real. For every South African going to Zimbabwe, there are thousands of Zimbabweans flooding into South Africa, and most of them illegally. They then talk about wanting to improve healthcare in Zimbabwe so fewer people cross over. That's rich, because just last week, their own Justice Minister said in Parliament that Zimbabwe will not pay for its citizens receiving medical care in South Africa. So let me get this straight. They refuse to improve their own systems fast enough. They refuse to take financial responsibility for their own people, but we're the ones who are supposed to foot the bill. No. Let me be clear. Both Lesotho and Zimbabwe are not serious about solving this issue. They don't speak about how many of their citizens cross the border without papers and then show up at our clinics expecting free services. They don't talk about the strain this puts on South Africans, on mothers standing in line for hours with sick children, on old people spending the whole day in clinics only to be turned away. All these countries do is talk, they deflect, they play victim, and our own government is too weak to put its foot down. So it's up to us. It's up to South Africans on the ground to take action, to keep protesting, to organize, to march, to form movements like Operation Dudula, like March and March, and stand up for what's right. Because clearly, the governments involved, theirs and ours, are not going to do anything about this. So when they call us xenophobic, let them. If defending our borders, protecting our clinics, and demanding law and order makes us xenophobic, then so be it. Because we are done playing games. We will not stop fighting. We will not stop speaking out. And we will not let this country collapse while foreigners and politicians alike sit back and watch. South Africa first, always. Watch the video on your left to see the Democratic Alliance fighting for illegal foreigners in Tshwane. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Until next time.